To another episode of Gen X Gamer. I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for being patient and waiting for me to come back from vacation. What are we going to talk about? Why is my PlayStation 5 so expensive? Why is your PlayStation 5 so expensive? Your Xbox, your Switch 2? Why are game consoles and everything else, especially RAM, so expensive today? Video cards, all that stuff. It's AI, of course. This is what I had time to do while I was on vacation. Unfortunately, my M64 came like the day after I left for vacation, right? So it's been waiting for me. And I was thinking about that, when I was in my vacation. Did the prices jump so high? Everybody says AI. As many of you know, I invest, but because I've been so busy at work, I kind of taken off my eye off the ball for a bit. But I thought, let me look at my investments. Let me see what's going on. And especially because the bond market has been reacting. But I'm not going to bore you with any technical stuff. The purpose of this video, guys, is not financial advice, right? It's for you to be aware of what's going on, for you to ask questions of your financial advisor, your professional financial advisor, your accountant, whoever you decide to advise you in your business. Everybody's situation is different. Right? Mine is different than yours. So that's why you need to seek the professional help of somebody in the industry. But let me get to this, guys. What I uncovered going down this rabbit hole of just craziness, right? It's absolute craziness. Is that this is almost like the crash of 2008 with the with the real estate, with the tranches, the different tranches that were being put together with mortgages. It's the same thing, but with AI, data centers, and video chips. And really, the reason I put Beavis and Butthead on there, because the simplest way to describe what's going on here is that episode where they had to sell candy. Of course, they couldn't sell candy because they're terrible salesmen. So, they use the same dollar to buy each other's candy. And at the end, they're like, oh, we sold out of candy. Look, we, we did it. And that's what's going on here, guys. I mean, it's plain and simple, a good old, nice, old, legal, if you will, a completely legal kind of scam, right? These guys can't be regulated, even though they're doing some of the same things that we're doing back in 2008 when the crash happened, because they're not attached to real estate. These are chips, which is even worse, because chips last what? These video cards and the technology is cyclical, right? It's at the most going to last 3-4 years. The way they put it, it's going to last 10 years. No, it's not. We all know, nobody keeps video cards or chips for that long. There's always something new coming along, so you have to update these things. But what's going on here is that Nvidia is funding a lot of this stuff, right? Say Nvidia's company A, they go to company B and say, hey, you're building data centers. Why don't you use our video cards here, our processors? We got the latest and greatest. They say, we can't afford it. Well, don't worry. We'll front you some. We'll back you up, right? And now you have customers out there like Meta, like Google, and ChatGPT saying, we need data centers. And this company says, well, I have chips, and if you want to do it with me, I'll be happy to do it. I have, a backer here. Nvidia is going to back me. So, you're going to have the chips. And they said, great. We'll give you a purchase order for $500 million. Let's say, let's make up money, right? Just to show you of an example of what's going on here. Yeah, well, we'll give you $500 million, and then another company gives another $500 million. Now they got $1 billion, and they say, hey guys, we have a great investment opportunity for you here. And we're going to sell institutional bonds here to you so you can invest in this project. They haven't generated a single dollar. Not one. They don't exist yet, right? And people are investing into this. They're putting your money, your 401k money, is pretty soon going to be in these things, because Nvidia has gotten together with a couple of big companies, a couple of investment bankers. That's right, the ones that moved the market and said, hey, we're going to create this new entity so people, and the market specifically, can invest in this, such as your annuities and other big companies that you actually hold in your 401k or may use for financial reasons in your life. and they can put their money in there, right? So you can guess what's going to happen here, right? All these evaluation guys that are going on, when you hear all these big numbers, they're based on everything going right. The some of the valuations of these companies are greater than Nvidia, the ones that are actually backing them. Does that make sense? No. And you're looking at all these big companies that have billions and billions of dollars, but they need your money. That's how you know it's a scam, right? They need your money. You know, there's a lot of good businesses out there. They don't need your money. And if AI is so great, how come it's not inventing things for these guys to raise money without having to go ask and share all this wealth? Right? Isn't that crazy? That's how you can start smelling this stuff, guys. And the purpose of this is not to give you financial advice, it's for you guys to be informed and ask questions of your financial advisor. Hey, how am I doing? How am I going to be affected if this goes down? The tubes, like this crazy Gen X gamer saying that might happen within 4 years. You know, am I protected? What kind of exposure do I have? Right? I do my own stuff, right? So I could tell you if the market goes down 50%, the most I stand to lose is less than 20%. Right? That's, I'm pretty diversified, and I'm, what I'm doing for my situation, but somebody needs to look at your situation and advise you based on your age, your income and all that other stuff, right? And you have to ask questions. You have to be informed about this. And like I told you, I got through this because of the rabbit hole of finding out why these consoles are getting so expensive. Everybody just says AI, but I want to find the actual reason. Now I find it, right? And we humans, we can't help ourselves. We can't help ourselves. All this money is really on paper. They're not profits until you actually sell them, right? We just do this in the stock market so we don't, start many, many other wars for resources, right? But it's no different than 2008. It's no different than 1929, the Great Depression. It's no different than the internet bubble that we had crash, back, what was it, 2001, whenever it was, 2000. It's all the same, right? People get euphoric. They start investing in this stuff. People get hyped. And, the same thing always happens. Somebody's going to make money. Somebody's going to lose money. That's the way of the market. If I get things right, I make a bunch of money. And if I don't, I kind of lose my ass off, right? That's what happens, and not everybody can be Warren Buffett, right? Not everybody can have those kind of things going on for them. So that's why you need a professional advisor to advise you. I'm a business analyst, or this stuff is, within my realm, right? Assessing risk is my job. But for you, you might be in a different, position, and you need to hire a professional, right? But it was so interesting to find out what these guys were doing, guys. It was just, I'm telling you, it's pretty much the same situation as what happened with the market and the housing market in 2008. These guys are putting all these corporate bonds in trenches that they're going to be able to sell to institutions and put on the market. Now, here's the beauty of it. Some of these are annuities, right? Some of these insurance companies are buying these. Insurance companies that are insured by the state. So if some of these things blow up, you and I may be holding the bag. Right? Now, you might think that I'm just being an alarmist and this and that and the other. And I really went in deep, guys. And let me tell you, a couple of things that, just in layman terms, I'm going to show you that don't make any sense. All the sales numbers that they're giving to you are based on a perfect future. If everything goes 100%, right? That's what they're trying to sell you. And people are going all in. They're buying in, right? I mean, you could see it, right? They're making all this money. About 7 companies dominate right now the S&P 500. So if these companies that, could all fall down at the same time because they're depending on common resources, like they share a commonality of what can go wrong, and they'll suffer, which means you'll suffer, right? Everything has to be perfect. Right now you have subscription services, right? And you're paying $20 a month for Chat GPT or something like that, or whatever other service you use. But what they want to do is they want to sell tokens. Instead of that, they want to charge you by the word for you to do your prompts. Does that make sense? What if you get it wrong? You get your money back? No, of course not. So why would you switch from a monthly payment system to this? Oh, because you don't have a choice. There are choices. There are Chinese companies out there making products that are, 75% is good, 80% is good. But here's the kicker. They are free. So if you get a discount of 100% and not pay anything for it and get it for free, wouldn't you use something that's 80% as good for free and not pay something where you have to pay tokens? There's no guarantee that of a positive outcome. And even if you're a business, that's because this is where they're going to make their money, is businesses using this stuff in order to improve their productivity. If you do a prompt and you screw it up, or you don't know what you're doing or what have you, and you don't get the outcome you want, you don't get your money back. So how do you create budgets for that? If you have let's say a budget of 5,000 tokens, and you put it in your company, and Bob's doing your prompts, and Bob is just learning, he doesn't know what the hell he's doing, so he spends the 5,000 tokens in 2 weeks. What are you going to do? I just say, oh, okay, well, we'll just be unproductive for the last 2 weeks until we get next 5,000 tokens? No. People are just going to go to something that's simpler, there's something that they can depend on. And right now, all these promises, if you look at their wording, right, and these are the things that you have to look for. When these people try to sell you AI, they don't say, this is what it's going to do. They'll tell you, we wonder what you can do with it. But wait a minute, you guys are the expert. You tell me what you can do with it. How come you're not discovering new drugs? How come you're not, curing diseases right now, coming up with all this stuff? So if it's so wonderful, all you do is need more power for more customers. You should be making money on your own. If this is such a great invention, why do they need your money? Always ask that question. There's great companies out there. Coca-Cola is not out there, prospecting people, saying, hey, can you invest in my stuff? They're not getting insured by the states, but, in case they don't sell enough Coca-Cola. They have a great product and they just put it out there. Or Nike or whatever company, right? So be careful out there, guys. I went down this rabbit hole to find out why these consoles were so expensive, and I ran into a beautiful, legal, crazy story that is basically a legal scam, in my opinion. As a business analyst, let me tell you, I'm going to protect myself, because if you're not telling me the truth, right? If I can't get the truth from you, of what the actual projections are, and you're just telling me stories about how great it's going to be, but you need my money now, so it's going to be greater in the future. I don't think so. You got to show me. You got to prove to me. I need to see your balance sheets and all these loans and all these bonds and everything, all that financing they're doing, guys. They're doing it off the books, so they don't even appear on their books. So I can't even tell you precisely how much is going on, because it doesn't appear on the ledger. It doesn't appear as debt yet. So it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm not going to get into the minutiae of it. For those of you who are members, I'll make a special video just to tell you my thoughts and what sectors I'm liking, so you can ask questions of your advisor if you're protected, right? And see where he's putting your money. It's, guys, I know some of this stuff is not, investing is boring, right? Long-term investing is boring, but it's boring for a reason, because it's secure. You buy and hold, right? You're not looking for moonshots every 15 seconds. You're not looking for these big paydays. That's how you end up like the Amico investors, right? And that's what's going to happen to these people at the end if they don't watch out. People are going all in on this stuff. People are taking out loans to invest in this stuff. And I hope it turns out for them. I can't predict the future. Nobody can. And no investor in their right mind should tell you, oh, I know exactly when this market's going to crash. No, it could be a couple of years, it could be 4 years. It could be 4 years before you see a cheap console, for example. But you have to be aware of what's going on, what these people are planning to do with your money, So make sure you are protected, that you're not one of those that are going to be sacrificed on the altar, because this always happens, guys. Great ideas, great technology comes along. People get very excited. These bubbles are created of investing, and you can go back in history. You can go back to the railroads. The railroads are a great invention. It changed history. It changed civilization by transporting goods. But let me tell you what, a lot of people lost money on inventions, on building railroads that went to nowhere. Right? Doesn't mean it wasn't a great invention. It doesn't mean it wasn't a great technology, but it doesn't mean it also was a great investment. The same thing with the internet. Remember, the internet bubble burst. We still use the internet. It's great, but that doesn't mean it was a great investment for everybody back then, right? If you bought at the top and didn't sell, you lost money. With the housing, which is similar, the type of financing that they're trying to do here is similar to that. That went bust. And this, I couldn't tell you. There's not enough information out there, but what I can see is a lot of promises based on a future that's uncertain. And the one thing I know is AI may do a lot of things, but the one thing it can't do is predict the future. The one thing I do know, though, is that men are always men, right? Humans will never disappoint you with their greed and their backstabbing. We can't help ourselves, right? We do this so we don't have to fight each other for for resources, right? That's why we created the market, so we don't have that many wars anymore. We fight it out in the investment arena, but we can't help ourselves, guys. I know human nature, right? And I'm a betting man, let me tell you. And somebody out here, once they see all this money, all these trillions of dollars coming in, you're going to tell me there's not one guy that's going to go in there and says, you know what? Maybe I don't build this. Maybe I'll take the Tommy Tallarico route and just close up shop and say, hey, you know what? I tried. All right, humans. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being patient and waiting for me to come back from vacation. My MacBook is dead. I don't know what happened to it. I need to fix it, so that's why I'm not on camera. But I wanted to make a video when I came back. So thank you so much, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Make sure you like, subscribe, and tell me, when do you think you'll be able to get a cheap console again? I don't know, man. It looks like it's going to be a while. I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Thank you so much, and take care.